out that I think it's really relevant to us. Because the first time I read it, I thought, wow, Krishna uses the same map again and again. Right? Like that's one of the things that like our people, our geneticists, devotees talk about. Yeah, well, there's similarities because Krishna's using the same plant. Like why do we look like animals? Because it works. So Randy Stark wrote in this book that one of the reasons Christianity spread so quickly is because of the Jewish diaspora. There were Jewish people spread all over what then was the known world in that part of the world. So when the apostles and different people went different places, they had a ready-made group of people who were kind of halfway aligned with this new version of Judaism, which was bhakti, which was free from all the barriers, and which they immediately caught on. And he goes back in his book. It's very interesting. It's a little book. You can get it easily. One of the things that he points out is that most of the first churches in the Roman cities, which was the empire at that time, they were down the street from the synagogues. So he talks about, like, if you were somebody coming from some part of the world and you're crossing the ocean, Mediterranean Sea, you get to some city and there was no internet, there's no social media, there's no telephones, no telegraphs. You would have a letter to introduce you to somebody there, and somebody's cousin is there. So you're from a Jewish background, you're going to meet some other Jewish person and start to preach this new version of, because you're a missionary, you start to preach this new version. And people realize that, well, they don't have all the rules and regulations. Like in our terminology, it's not caste conscious. You can broad-minded. You can be, and he talks about how there's marginal communities, and he talks about the Jewish communities, say, living in Spain. They weren't fully Jewish and they weren't fully Spanish. They were marginal. And sociologists know when you're in a marginal community, you can like go one way or the other very easily. So he describes that how the Judaism initially took root, Christianity took root among the Jews, spread around the Jewish diaspora around the world. And once they took it up, they spread it to others. So I'm reading that thinking like Jewish diaspora, Indian diaspora, or Hindu diaspora, marginal people, throw away the rules, throw away a lot of the rules. It's bhakti. It's like, whoa, Krishna's using the same game plan all over again. But the same way Christianity didn't stop with the Jewish people that it brought into or converted into their fold. They became the groundwork for spreading further. So I was thinking in the same way, it's a fact. I mean, initially in ISKCON, without the young people, the mantra rock dance people, that's where ISKCON took root. After a period of time, we gradually evolved or it changed. Now it's a fact. You look at all the temples coming up. We all know this. Who's paying for those temples? It's not hippies, So, whereas there's some different things that we're accomplishing now are coming because of our Indian congregational members. But as I mentioned this morning earlier, we can't limit ourselves to that. That's wonderful. That's fantastic. We can't minimize that. Those are core people. They're our people, or they're us. But we need to see beyond that. So in the same way he makes this point in his book about how because of the Jewish diaspora, Christianity was able to spread all around the world. So I really believe Krishna used the same plan. He sent Indian and Hindu people all around the world, everywhere. And one of the reasons is economic development over broadening them, but it's to actually plant. Because we all know, like, you see in an elevator, right? You go to some home program, there's like a tear off the phone number. Come on Friday night, really cheesy little hand-drafted little poster. Come on Friday night to our house, Susie and Raj Patel, and we're going to have prasadam and kirtan. And like when you go in there, there's a bunch of Indian people because they know what kirtan is, they know what prasadam is. And generally, nobody else is there. And those people come just because, hey, it's like vegetarian, it's nice food. I know kirtan, they sit on the floor, I'm comfortable with that. They have no idea, as you mentioned. They're there for the experience, for the social experience of having friends. But after a while, it's like they hear the Bhagavad Gita, they have kirtan. After a while, they're chanting on beads. And next thing you know, they're like serious devotees. And then they're putting cheesy little flyers in their own apartment elevators and expanding from there. So the question is, how do we build upon that? So that's where it gets to the point of like diversity. Because like Burke Roger, who's another sociologist, a good friend of ISKCON, been studying ISKCON for years, 20 years ago said, you have to be careful you don't turn into an ethnic church. There's like the Lithuanian Catholic Church, and there's a Greek Orthodox. If you're not Greek, forget going to the Greek Orthodox Church. They don't want you. It's just the way of their culture. So there can be an experience where people feel like I don't fit in. Like you mentioned about experience is so important. So the question I had for you before you run is that you just explained a really fantastic program that you're doing with your friends and maybe New Vrindavan because you got a retreat center and all that. What's the relevancy to those of us who have a small temple in Columbus right now? Now it's small. In Columbus or Toledo or someplace else. How do we, what do you tell us suddenly going, wow, that's really cool, I'm glad she's having success with that. Is there anything practical? And we'll get into some of the things that I want to talk about in terms of what we can do. But what would you share with us as far as what we can do?
Yeah, I mean, the vision.
There's another mic someplace. Because otherwise it's like, wow, fantastic, and we're all excited for 2 minutes and then we go home and don't do anything.
Yeah, great. I mean, two things. One, the vision even for what we're doing with Conscious Collective is that this is like the pilot temple program. You know, like New Vrindavan is really supporting us, and this is our pilot. But ideally, after a little bit of time, which we started how many months ago? A handful of months ago. I mean, I've been doing initiatives on my own, but we really came together. Yeah. Okay, 3 months ago we came together and really got serious about this. So the idea is, the goal is that once we kind of get the template really hammered out, that this can be a program that we can go to other temples and get a group of devotees and do it there. Conscious Collective can be like, I like to call Conscious Collective the farm team of ISKCON. It's like people that maybe aren't quite ready yet to totally opt in on a full-fledged devotee. Its culture's still a little bit weird. What, Haribol, what? I'm not interested in the sorry. It's the farm program, and for people to get there. And so that would be the overall, that would be the goal. I think it's important that first we kind of refine our template so that that's optimized. And then it's something that, ideally I would love in a few years, we have a leadership conference here and train people up to do it themselves, to create farm teams at every temple. That would be the goal. That being said, you can also do it yourself, and anybody can do it. So if you're like, I don't really want to be about, just take the principles and create something yourself. Honestly, that's what I did in working with Wisdom of the Sages and Veda Sar. Saw the principles, the things that I liked, the things that I thought were very effective, and try to design a system, because I'm a systems engineer, to do that like on a really large global scale that's repeatable, that's all the things that we know are important for scalability. So anyway, is that answer your question?
Two things. It's a pilot program.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. You'll be ready to share more with us when you work out the kinks.
Yes.
And second of all, those of us who are, what's the first level of people that are like really excited about an idea and they stand in line at Best Buy all night long to get the newest version?
Early adopters?
Any early adopters out there? They can approach you.
Yeah.
You fill them in on some of the principles that you're putting into place, and maybe you might want to try some of this. Might help in Vermont or some different things. You're already doing your own thing, but
We're doing something very similar.
yeah. So exchange.
Actually, at this retreat we just had, there was a lady there, Martine, we just talked about her, and she said, you and Kishore Gopi should do something together. You guys would be a power team. So I said, okay, I'll put that on my list. So maybe we talk Kishore Gopi. I've kind of been thinking about that conversation you said. I'm like, we should do like a big women's retreat by the ocean, 150 people. What do you think, Kishore Gopi? That sounds amazing. All right, done. Okay.
You can talk to Rukmini, she knows where to go. There's a cove.
Yeah.
Women-owned place. Mama whales come every year to give birth to baby whales.
Oh, no way.
It's like women's retreat loco. We told the guys it's a cove in South America where the mama whales come to get babies. It didn't get any traction. She knows some good places.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that a question?
you answered very well, very nicely, thank you. And they want to get hold of you, they can, or Anuradha, or just
Yeah, Anuradha is like my person, so if you want to talk to me, Anuradha will She knows everything. She's the person who holds everything together.
So part of this is we're going to ask all of you, maybe jumping the gun, but we're going to ask all of you to start thinking about it. A point person in your temple center or area who you think will be excited to talk about this and hear this conversation with other people, for example. Or with another. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be you. You might think, how much can I do? No, you think of the right person. And we're going to take names. That's part of the exercise. That's how we're going to keep this rolling. Because there are devotees out there who are so excited about this vision, and they feel that, oh, she should have asked me. So think of that person.
Yeah, because we can't all be everything for everybody. I'm not going to lead a women's retreat. It won't work. I can do certain things, I can't do other things. So.
I'm sorry, I left my water here.
Oh, I thought you came back
I'm
to
so
reassure
sorry.
me that I could lead a women's
I
retreat.
thought
That's a positive reinforcement.
about it. I was going to, but I didn't want to be dishonest either.
That's why she's a nuclear scientist. Okay, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
I wanted to maybe kind of simplify things a little bit. We certainly, as Madana-gopāla said, there's lots and lots of things we can do. I just like to start out looking from a temple model, because most of us are working with the temple model, small, big, or whatever, to just make a list of things that we could be doing, like the low-hanging fruit, because we definitely hear about stuff like, I personally have been to temples where I feel like I'm not going back for prasadam. Whereas in the early days, I went to the temple for prasadam. But there's some places these days, I'm not going to mention where it's like I don't go because I'm not going to be able to eat the prasadam. It's not cooked for my palate. So there's a simple kind of a thing. So I was just thinking we could just do some brainstorming, because like for me, to talk about do a retreat, experiential, it's like, it's fantastic, it's great. I don't have time to work on that. It's not my thing. Maybe next lifetime I can focus on, but like it's not. So, and some of you may be thinking, wow, how do we relate to younger people that are into the experience of it? I don't know how to do that. I just know how to like read from the Bhagavad Gita and quote a lot of Sanskrit verses, and I don't know if I can relate to that model. But there may be small tweaks we can all make in our community experience that would be helpful to at least make it a more diverse, friendly place. So I just thought we should just list some stuff and come up with, and if everybody can think of, at the end of that, maybe everybody can just identify 5 things or whatever that we can do easily. These are like, some may be more complicated. Like I know I went to like New York, and then we'll open up. In the Brooklyn Temple, I was asked to give the Sunday feast, and when they give the announcement, they say, all the new people, right? Is that the word? All the new people, which is like code word. Because like everybody that looked like, maybe I can tell like my old Mick Jagger jokes, or I can talk about Washington politics, they all got up and left. Where are they going? Because they're all going down for the lecture for the new people downstairs. So they have a separate program. Now they got a big building, more space, this and that. That's one of the things that they've identified that they can do. So there may be different things like that that we can all identify. So who's got a nice, neat handwriting? Anybody here's got, because it's not me. Want to come up? Okay, great. So I just thought if that's okay, we'll just do some brainstorming and come up with a few things. I like the term low-hanging fruit, because again, sometimes I'm like too old and too cynical. I've been to too many of these meetings. Sometimes, we talked about, you go home with 70 things that aren't going to happen, as opposed to like some really quick and easy things. And if those are happening, maybe there's other things that we can do. But what are some of the simpler things that we can do? Is it okay? Hands up here.
One thing I noticed when I was coming to the temple for the first time, after coming through a preaching program, it was very...
Where's the hand up? Oh. You all know generally, just little communications advice, generally you never give away the mic. You know why?
You don't get it.
You ever given the mic to a 70-year-old devotee from India who really thinks you need to understand that Lord Shiva is the Supreme? And once you give him that mic, he's not giving it back. In this case, you worship what you, no, you're.
Long story short, it helps if the language you use is English, not. I know it's awkward because many congregation members, their first language and maybe second language are other languages of South India or whatever, and it's very jarring for a Western person to come in and there's conversations happening in Hindi or Bengali or Gujarati, and until you're used to that, it can feel like you don't belong. So just going out of one's way to make sure the conversation is always in a language, whatever the local language is.
Good question. So, is that the announcements, or is that, because it seems kind of awkward to go up to somebody and say, don't speak Bengali to your cousin from West Bengal who only speaks Bengali, right? Where? They're just being aware of it?
Can I say?
I thought we were giving points of what to.
Yeah, so I'm asking. So one point is announcements. I would say, first of all, make sure the announcements are understandable English for everybody. And if you're the temple president, you got a thick accent and nobody but your wife knows what you're saying, don't make announcements. They have a young Indian girl who's 20 years old at college who speaks English in such a way that everybody can understand. She can say, I'd like to introduce our temple president. Thank you very much. He's the one who's behind everything. Here's the announcements. So with announcements, we can do it. But I was questioning, maybe at least amongst the leaders to be aware that it's interesting, even if the side conversations are a different language, it could be a turn up. But just be careful. Maybe just be careful with side conversations. But we also want to be careful. I don't want to go up and say you can't speak. No, Hindi, Telugu. No Telugu's allowed here. We should be careful of that. Be careful of that. But at the same time, you can be aware of it, that if it affects him and I and some new person walks in the door, if you're just talking Telugu with somebody who you could be speaking English to, I think that's the point. When conversations could be held in English, have them in English. Or at least American.
Let me share my experience.
Beware side conversation. Good point. Everybody agree with that? Yeah. You gotta be careful. You can't say, no Telugu is spoken on this property. Well, then you're telling those people they're not welcome. So we don't want to go there.
Question. Is it New York English? American English?
I think the New Yorkers would say, forget it, that's not New York.
Forget about it.
I'm a Midwesterner. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I have a suggestion, maybe try to make the lectures more new devotee friendly, because we need to keep it simple, because new devotees don't want to be confused at the start. It's already...
Give us some practical things to make it. Ever heard that? Make it more friendly for new people. So what are some examples of that?
Maybe at the start you could do a little thing about the soul and make it new devotee friendly,
But more simple?
Yeah, more simple.
Less verses,
use
maybe?
the vocabulary. If you
Okay, beware the
use the
vocabulary.
it's a little...
Okay.
Don't use atma instead of soul.
Okay. Everybody know that term, jargon? You notice Radha-Priti did not stand up here and use the language of nuclear scientists, which I'm sure she could have, and every one of us in the room, maybe a few, but everybody else would have been lost. So she kind of dumbed it down for us, according to what we can understand. So we have a little bit this culture, probably even says, if you can't back it up with Shastra, then don't say it. That doesn't work with it. The more you back up with Shastra for new people, the more you turn them off. So you want to quote one line to impress all the old timers that you know what you're talking about, but don't quote all 4 lines or all 8 lines, etc. So just be aware that making it new devotee and new guest friendly, and be careful with the jargon. Thank you. That's a very good point.
Okay.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. So I strongly feel that since we are in western part of the world, so at least for the Sunday feast, everybody should dress, except for the pujaris, everybody should dress in modest western clothing. And I have quotes from Srila Prabhupada, which I have compiled from our Facebook conversation, where Srila Prabhupada like very clearly says that he has no objection and he even supports that Western clothing is fine because clothing is a big part of culture. So for people, for new people, when they come and when they see devotees in full Indian clothing, they think this is Indian. Also in North America and in Western part of the world also, dressing differently in any kind of different clothing than the standard Western clothing is also considered like a cult, that we are a cult. So I strongly feel that devotees should, at least on Sunday feast, they should, and big preaching programs and opportunities, they should dress modest Western.
Comments on that? Other comments?
Sunday
on
program
that,
for
that point?
in particular.
Yes, I agree with this.
Yeah.
I believe in a temple setting that could be a little misleading. Because in a temple you are, when you go out for preaching, yes. When you go on the Sankirtan, yes. You can dress, however you want to, modestly. But inside a temple, you're setting temple standards. And I'm not saying everybody has to wear, a sari, but they can be comfortable. They can, be ladies there these days. They wear salwar kurtas, they wear gopi skirts, and that's okay. But if you are, again, a Brahmin is going on the altar, and there are certain things we have to be careful about.
Sorry to interrupt, I already said that, except for pujaris.
Except for pujaris, but then
Then how come the temple is to be inviting for Western people? Because
we can. I mean, by doing all these other things, but Prabhupada himself never changed his attire, and all the ladies who joined, they were wearing saris with actually covering their heads, which we don't do these days. So I believe that there is a point that yes, when you are going out, or you have you invite them for lunch another day and just be casual, but I don't want this to go too far like Krishna West, right?
There's a lot of hands up, so maybe we can ask him to make short comments. I want to reinforce one thing she said. I'm really happy you said not everybody has to wear a sari, quote unquote.
Yes.
I feel so much better.
After you, I wanted to just respond to the. It's very interesting about the clothing, what you're talking about, Mataji, about the Sunday feast in particular. Because I think that, especially as we're on the 60th and coming up to the 60th anniversary of the first Sunday feast, the Sunday feast was originally intended to attract new people, right? It was giving prasadam and it was also
and keep the people that were
keep the people who were there, happy. But it was to attract people. When you read the Lila Rita, it was very clearly to attract people to Krishna consciousness. But I think that over time, and I think this is part of the cultural dynamics that we're talking about, the Sunday feast has become like, I grew up going to various, Western Christian churches. It has that vibe of like a community coming together around, it's like a church, right? And people are generally dressed up a little bit, right? They're not there in their jeans.
Sunday dress.
Sunday
best.
Sunday dress.
That's what Christians so
Yeah, you're right, exactly. But I'm saying the Sunday feast at a temple, like when I go to Tawako, it has the exact same feeling that I had going to church, that people are there to see their friends, they're there for moral upliftment and spirituality, but they're looking proper. It's very much not geared to bringing in new people. And so I think, Madana-gopāla has spoken about this too, that maybe the Sunday feast has become something else for temples, and that's good. But then have that and acknowledge that, and then maybe make something else the thing that's for newcomers. Maybe like Brooklyn is doing, like kind of bifurcated, or
do Saturdays as well.
Yeah.
Have Saturdays be the.
Okay, we're way off the topic of clothes. Anybody else that want to talk about clothing?
I just quickly want to say something about clothing. I always wear this. I'll wear this to go on through the airport today.
Yeah,
I
laundry, if you
know. I go around the whole of New York City in my sari and tea-light all the time, and no one really knows that it's a sari on me. I wear it with my trainers. I'm just kind of going around. I'm having conversations with people. Like I feel very natural and comfortable, and it's not something I really think about. So, and I feel as well on Sundays, maybe the people that are like not living in the ashram like myself, it's their day to be like dressed as a Hare Krishna, so we wouldn't want to take that away.
Yeah, I want to add a comment as we go back here. It may be, Mataji, different places, it's a big thing you want to add is, it may be your experience in Boston, you're turning off people because everybody in the temples weren't devotional. Go for it. You got the quotes, Prabhupada said it's okay. Other people may have different experiences in different places. So, you know, we're not planning to come up with a list of, you know, the 10 commandments of thou shalt not wear a sari on Sunday. But if that's your experience, great. And it's good you're sharing it with other people because some of us may feel like that. So we don't like letting two people
comment on clothes. Okay, so on clothes, I think a very important thing that we learned yesterday is that keeping Srila Prabhupada in center. So just, you know, to just think what would Prabhupada do over here, or what did he teach us, and what were things happening at his time. I mean, there were newcomers coming at that time, and you know, Prabhupada, devotees were dressing in dhoti kurta, or Mataji is dressing in sari or gopi dress. I mean, that was okay that time, so what has changed now? I mean, it's time to think about that. Well, we cannot be influenced. Tomorrow somebody says that, you know, they started drinking in church, or, you know, eating meat or doing this, so shall we just go to that trend? No. I mean, we just have to follow what Prabhupada taught us.
Yes, and at the same time, in book distribution, Prabhupada told us it was okay to wear Western dress, and I believe Prabhupada knew we were wearing wigs. Anybody know Pranal? The ladies, you didn't wear wigs, did you? No.
Thank you. Here in New Vrindavan, and Prabhupada visited here several times, so for those who may not be aware, the devotees were wearing overalls and mud boots that smelled of cow dung. And when I was in the Brooklyn temple, we always knew when the New Vrindavan devotees were there as soon as we walked in the door, because we could smell their boots that were in the boot room, and it would permeate all through the temple rooms right across the street and coming through the hall. Oh, New Vrindavan devotees are here now. So, and Srila Prabhupada had no problem